Start of third set.
Yeah. I think you get 10 minutes.
Yeah, still.
And if we don't get a quorum for in the first 10 minutes, then we have to stop. So, okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna hang out until we get a third, or I send everybody up.
Oh,
We're gonna try for all of us.
Cool. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Oh, go through. All right.
What's that?
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance. Very good stars.
okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. On to 81, roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Ben Johnson,
Present.
Kelly Orr's absent at this time. Kelsey Meadow,
Present.
Kelly,
Present.
Larissa Beauty will not be here tonight, but with that, we'll report of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board.
Thank you. 82, public comments.
Sure. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may contain matters both on and off the announced agenda. Then now may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you're called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The time will begin when you say your name and you will be recording 3 minutes. If you're an attendee of the Zoom meeting and would like to do public comment, please raise your hand at this time. We do not have any public comment registered in person or online.
Okay. We're gonna go to approval of agenda. So before we do that, we are gonna actually make a change to the agenda. I'm gonna move C1 to the top of the list. So, from that point, making that change, then we approve the agenda from that point on. All right. So, do I have a motion to approve the new agenda? Trent Kelly, motion to approve. Kelsey,
Kelsey Meno, second.
all in favor? Aye. Kelsey, say aye. I believe in you.
I say aye. I'm so sorry.
All right, motion approved. Next, approval of Minutes. Should be quick. Trenton, start off again. Eric Kelly, motion to approve.
Chelsea Meno
Chelsea?
second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 There you go. Approved, minutes approved. Council is not here at this moment in time. Do you want to hold off on that?
We can hold off yet.
Okay. So we're gonna go into C1, the quarterly update for the Reno Police Department. Gentlemen, floor is all yours.
Chief, there's a clicker up on the podium for you.
Okay.
All right, Sean Garlock for the record, Assistant Chief of Police for the Reno Police Department. I want to first say thank you for the invite. Appreciate us being here. Chief Solferino is out of town. I believe he's either trying to fly back tonight or he'll be back tomorrow. He sends his apologies for not being able to make this personally, as both he and I wanted to at least get in front of everybody, kind of give you our update, the direction of the department, as well as answer any questions. So I'll do my best to give his update. He's a much more eloquent speaker than I am, but I'll give you what we have. When you look at the first column, rebuilding internal trust and communication, really this boils down to, obviously, in any organization, the success is going to come down to having trust in the folks that run the organization and the workers that make things happen, and also have that communication both up the chain and down the chain. And so for Chief Solferino and myself, as soon as we kind of stepped on deck and got into the building, the first thing we did was sit down with our command staff, sit down really with all of our personnel, and started meeting on a one-on-one basis to really kind of understand the landscape of the police department at that time, and really understanding what our needs were, what areas did we need attention in, and really make sure that our operations didn't skip a beat. I guess I could start off and kind of give you a little bit of background for me. So I was hired with the Reno Police Department back in 1995. My kids like to call it 1995. But anyway, and I retired in 2024 after about 28 and a half years. I was about 2 years in retirement when I was asked to if I'd be willing to come back to the police department, kind of help them out with the situation they were in. I did not hesitate, but I had to clear it to the wife and kids, and they cleared me to come back to work and help out. And so that's where I've been for the last couple of months. Getting back to trust and communication, obviously, really kind of, I think there were a couple of things that were going on here. First and foremost, we wanted to allow the current command staff, so our lieutenants and even our sergeants, to really continue their operations, their service to the community. And we really just kind of stepped in to see where we could assist them in maintaining the level of service, if not improving the level of service that we're giving our community. So again, kind of learning the landscape, but then also trying to figure out where we would fit in to get them what they need to continue accomplishing the mission. I already kind of talked about it. We spent probably the first couple months walking around the building, asking questions, getting input from our employees, both on our sworn side and our professional staff, to try to paint that situational picture within the department and start to structure, what the chief would identify as his strategy moving forward. In that, obviously, we have associations. There are a lot of businesses out there who deal with unions and associations. It's very important to have a cohesive work environment with them. I think getting them to the table and kind of making them understand that, our overall common goal is accomplishment of our mission and looking after the people who accomplish that mission. And so I think once we identified that common ground, we could start to move forward with identifying what our goals are and how we're going to set out to achieve those goals in unison and kind of in a unified fashion. Moving over to strengthening staffing. Obviously, officer wellness and retention of our employees is paramount to both Chief Solferino and myself. Looking at ways to provide resources for our officers. I'll give you just a recent example. I'm sure you all heard of the fatal hit and run accident that we had on 9th Street a couple nights ago. I had my traffic officers had to show up to that and had to deal with that. After they dealt with that case, they had to go back out on the street and handle other calls. I think it's really difficult to kind of imagine, but these officers, they go out and they deal with, the most horrific things. They deal with citizens who are obviously not calling it, in the best time of their lives. And so having to deal with that and still take care of themselves, I think is very important to us because we're all human. And over time, seeing tragedy after tragedy, seeing people at their worst and having to deal with the worst, it starts to add up. It starts to accumulate. And we have to watch our people and provide them with resources so they can maintain. Because kids nowadays, they've got to do 33 and a half years in this suit to reach retirement. That's a very long time of day after day dealing with tragedy and dealing with issues. And so an imperative for myself and for the chief is to ensure that we have the appropriate resources for our folks so that we are not waiting until they get to their worst possible moment before anything is provided to them or before we intercede on anything. In addition to that, obviously retention of our personnel. We invest a lot in our people, and it's not necessarily a return on investment, but we invest a lot in them. We also ask a lot of them, and so we want to provide as much as we can so that they can endure a career for as long as they need to. And so we have a couple different wellness initiatives. We've got a couple workshops that we've held since we've been here. We have a couple more on the horizon, as well as bringing in wellness experts and wellness programs to provide resources for our folks. Also along the lines of strengthening staffing, we sat down with the city and we kind of compared like different initiatives and different programs that both the city has as well as the Reno Police Department. Two of those programs, the Clean and Safe and the Park Rangers. And so we have worked well with them over the years, but what we realized is that we could probably be a little more effective and a little more efficient if we work together and sort of, I guess you could say, had a single chain of command and a single direction. That way we can maximize all the resources that we have. So we're talking with the city, looking at bringing the Clean and Safe program under our roof, as well as the Park Rangers, and work with them to maximize, again, those resources and those capabilities to accomplish the mission. As far as academy, so we currently have an academy going, started in July. We started out with 11 recruits. Of the 11 recruits, we're currently at 10. One of them did not meet one of our physical fitness standards, and so they were let go. Along with just a side note, we have standards, obviously, to be a police officer, and the one priority for the chief and myself is that we maintain those standards because we realize how important it is and how much authority and decision making that all of our officers have, that we have to maintain the highest standards so that we provide the highest level of service to our community. So we have 10, they'll graduate in December, and then they'll hit what we call PTO, our Police Training Officer Program. That's 16 weeks with a senior officer side by side with them on the street, learning how to apply everything they learned in the academy, how that applies in real life out on the street. Currently, we have 21 officers who are in street training who graduated from the academy June of this year. They are due to complete their street training probably mid-October, and then we'll have those officers on the street as well. To give you guys kind of an idea, give you a little history perspective here. When I was hired in 1995, we had 324 sworn police officers. For those that have been here that long, then you should remember that basically the south end of town didn't go much beyond South McCarran. We didn't have Verdi. As far as west goes, I don't even think we had Robb Drive back then. It was the 7th Street Pits that was in Washoe County. So between then and now, obviously our city, the footprint has grown quite a bit. Today, we have 355 sworn police officers. So we're about 30 more police officers than we had back in 1995. We're looking and been working with the city to try and increase that and improve that so we have higher visibility out on the street. And so, and also that our response times to certain calls for service from the public are reduced. And we're constantly working with the city with that. The 30 I just mentioned, the 10 in the academy and 21 on the street. So we're looking about 31. They account for last year's attrition. So it takes about 18 months total from time of hire to when they're a full-fledged police officer out on their own. It takes about 18 months to achieve that. So as you can tell, we're constantly behind the power curve on, empty seats versus how soon we can fill them. This coming January academy, right now we're looking at putting 25 recruits into the academy. This year alone, we're probably looking at close to 40 officers who will have left our police department in 2026. So again, it's a constant game of catch up. But I think the chief and I are working out strategies with the city to try and reduce that gap between when we lose somebody and then when we get somebody in their place. Going on to improving communication with the community. Obviously, we've got the Chiefs Advisory Panel, Community Impact Panel, and then our Neighborhood Advisory Board. I think both the chief and I agree that where some of the areas we can do better in is communicating with the public and educating the public. Years ago, we had what we called the Citizens Academy. It was an abbreviated version of our police academy, and we allowed citizens to go. It was like a class of maybe 20 to 30 folks. And it would be just kind of a snapshot of what it was like to go through a police academy in a very condensed version. So we had them out on the track to drive an emergency vehicle. We put them out on the range to shoot some guns, put them in some scenarios, and we call it simunitions. They're basically paintball guns. And we would send them through a couple different scenarios, and that's where it got really interesting. But the overall goal was to educate the community, to educate the public on what we do and why we do certain things the way we do it. And I felt that was very effective and it was very good. And it's something I think both the chief and I want to look to try and bring back. In addition to that, obviously with our panels and with the neighborhood advisory boards, I know, being formerly obviously a lieutenant, I used to go to all the NAB meetings because they landed on my watch. And getting out there in front of you all, being able to have a dialogue, have a discussion, and give you guys information, answer any questions, I think was key in communicating and being transparent with the community. So I'm glad that we are obviously bringing that back. And I appreciate it for you. Expanding transparency. Chief doesn't like the word transparency because he's more about actions than he is about words. And so if you were up here, he would tell you, we're taking a look at the data. We have different crime data systems, updated ones that we're pushing forward right now. And we want to get you guys the latest and greatest information on what's happening within our city and what's happening specifically within your wards. Today, we're going to give you kind of the top 5 bullet points for your ward specifically. I know historically we had what we called the crystal reports, and it was kind of a breakdown of the actual crimes in your ward. And what we would do is we would curate that information and identify trends or identify points of concern. And we would have a discussion with you all about it. Like if you had an increase in vehicle burglaries or, obviously in the winter times when it's cold out, a lot of people like to warm up their vehicles. So they'll go out, start up their car, leave it running in the driveway. We typically in the winter months will have an increased reporting of stolen vehicles. And so the NABs, we would come here and say, hey, it's just a reminder, don't do that. If you've had things in your car, keep them out of view, keep your stuff secured. So it would have a dialogue that directly pertains to your area and where you live. That is forthcoming. We no longer have the crystal reports. That program was kind of outdated and hit its kind of end of life. The new program that we're implementing right now is called Force Metrics. It's a system that really kind of gives you the latest and greatest in crime mapping and hotspot mapping. Give you a comparison, crystal reports, they were typically a month, maybe 2 months old. The Force Metrics will give you up to date last 24 hours, crimes committed, locations that they were committed, times, day of time. This kind of information, this crime finding information is what's available and going to be available to the officers out on the street. So they can pull that up from their car, take a look at what's going on their shift during their time, and come up with ways of countering crime that's happening in any given area. And then, of course, our lieutenants are tasked with overseeing that, identifying crime trends, and coming up, if needed, with operations to combat those crime trends in specific areas. Internal affairs activity. I know years ago, the Reno Police Department used to publish an annual report. In that report, we would also list all of our internal affairs activities. So officers that were disciplined, officers that were terminated, cases that we had to investigate. Now I say that it doesn't give a whole lot of detail because there's state mandates, state laws that basically dictate to us what we can tell the public and what we cannot. I know kind of some of the questions I fielded over some of the NABs is, what happened to the previous administration? I know there's a lot of questions. It was given to the mayor and city manager's office as well. The one thing I think I'd want to leave you guys with is whether it's an internal investigation or whether it's a criminal investigation, our priority is to see that investigation through and to ensure that justice is served. In order to do that, we're not willing to violate law just to give people information and compromise an investigation or compromise ultimately maybe an end result in an investigation. And so for us, our priority is to have and hold the integrity of an investigation so that we can see it all the way through versus, and what we sacrifice is we may not be able to say a whole lot about a particular investigation or situation. That is the whole reason behind that. We have a whole set of laws that mandate what we can release, what we can say, and what we cannot. And again, our objective is to maintain integrity of investigations. When you're looking at revision of posting of all of our policies. So in the time that I was retired, the police department was moving to a new policy platform. They had gotten about halfway through. And so when the chief and I first came into the station, we said, okay, what are some of the issues we're having? And overwhelmingly, we had a lot of comments about our policies. Essentially, they're an officer's rule book, what you can and can't do when you're out on the street. And so we took a look at that and said, okay, this is a priority. We have to have policies in place, policies that are understandable by our officers, so they essentially know the rules of the game when they go out there and they do their job. So we've been meeting every week with city attorneys, with the associations, with our executive staff and our command staff, and hashing out all of our policies. As we get them finalized, then we publish them on our website so that the community can access them and take a look at them. We're probably, I would say, a third of the way through. But to give you an idea, when I first came in the building, we were looking at about 1,000 pages of policy, which I think is unrealistic to have every single officer read and understand. And I think our goal is to get anywhere between 200 and 300 as far as the policy goes. Now, in that, we kind of separated out from policy our rules to our procedures, how we do things. And so some of the areas where we need to give maybe a little more specific direction on how an officer does something, that is outlined in kind of our procedures manual, but is not a part of our policy. So it makes it easier for them to identify where they need to go to find something and how they need to do something. And we have it all documented. Managing current enforcement priorities. You're going to see this today. And I've seen it so far in every ward. I think as part of the top 5 is going to be traffic issues. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody up here. Traffic issues are across the city. I will tell you back probably in 2008, 2009, before the big economic downturn, our traffic division alone had 40 motor officers and I think 6 accident investigators. Today, we have 8 motors and I think we have 3 accident investigators. So traffic obviously is a priority for the city. It is also a priority for us to build our traffic unit back up. With that, I will say one thing that you'll probably hear more and more from us. This is something that happened, I don't think it was last legislature, the one before that. Legislation was passed that basically turned a lot of our traffic violations from the criminal realm, from it being a misdemeanor crime to civil, being a civil act. Where this comes into play is I think some of the questions that I got most out of these meetings is how come so many cars are driving around without license plates and driving around with expired registration? Give me an example. Since it has moved into the civil realm, our enforcement ability doesn't go beyond giving them a ticket. So it costs them $100 to get a civil infraction for failure to register. I don't know how many people have bought cars maybe in the last 5 years, but it is a lot to register a vehicle. It can be anywhere from $1,200 all the way up to $1,800. How many tickets do you think somebody's willing to get before they really seriously consider registering their car? And a lot of these folks that we're stopping and we're giving these citations to, they have 2 or 3 tickets sitting on their passenger seat. We can't take any further action than just giving them another ticket. So I think there's probably good intentions moving it from the criminal realm to the civil realm, but I think this is one of those unintended consequences that nobody really kind of thought through. Either way, now you have the answer. Our ability to enforce a lot of these traffic laws are very, very limited, meaning we can just give them another ticket. Another unintended consequence of this, we had, 3 weeks ago or a month ago, we had an accident. It was on Rock Boulevard. A vehicle came out as a right-of-way violation, comes out onto Rock Boulevard, wanders over into the opposite lanes of traffic and creates a head-on collision, and there was significant injury. Because the violation was a civil violation, we were prohibited from getting a warrant to get into the vehicle to identify contributing factors, and also to maybe identify really who kind of was at fault initially, absent witness statements. So I think that was the first case that I was told where we actually ran into that. Because the traffic violation was a civil infraction, the judges would not issue us a warrant to further the investigation on how this occurred and who was at fault. So again, another unintended consequence. Anyway, this next legislation, I believe there's going to be a push with law enforcement in general in Nevada to move it back from civil back into the criminal realm. E-bike enforcement. You guys have e-bike issues in your neighborhoods as well. I know where I live, kids rolling around on these e-bikes are causing a lot of chaos out on the city streets. Not too long ago, I lived down South Reno, and there were a couple kids on e-bikes that went out in the middle of Demonte Ranch and Veteran Parkway in the middle of traffic and just started doing donuts and just stopped all 4 directions of traffic. And I think a lot of motorists got very aggravated out there. With e-bike enforcement, this is kind of a multifaceted campaign. We're looking at education for our kids, getting with the school police and having education sessions within school, educating parents. And really, we're going to have a heavy push on holding parents accountable for their kids and what they're doing. And then enforcement will be kind of that other prong, getting out there and actually getting these kids out of harm's way, preventing them from causing accidents and really causing problems. We've also dealt with a couple situations where adults were actually actively going after these kids because of some of the stunts that they were pulling in parking lots and out on the street. And then another initiative is our Hope and Heat teams, our human exploitation and sex trafficking units. We're in the midst of recombining our forces with Washoe County and with Sparks Police Department on some of these initiatives. Heat and Hope are 2 of those initiatives where we are looking to combine forces in our human trafficking areas and our crimes, as well as our unhoused population, our homeless population, and dealing with the issues that arise out of those scenarios. And with that, I will turn it over to Sergeant Harding to go over ward-specific issues. Thank you.
Good evening, Sergeant Mike Harding for the record. All right, so as Chief described, we pulled the top 5 statistics from our crime analysis here. So Reno Direct is an online reporting system that we have that citizens can use. So through that, April to June, had 323 illegally parked vehicles, 21 traffic issues, 13 graffiti incidents, 12 traffic related incidents, so whether citations or accidents, and requests for additional patrols. That might be if some business was burglarized in some sort of way, they might request graveyard extra patrol at night, things like that. And then our top 5 calls for service. So that's individuals actually calling 911 for police response. EMS advisory, that's going to be medical services. So that's going to be rooms on fire, traffic stops, family disturbances, alarm calls, and attempt to locates. So that might be some reckless driver or somebody suspected of driving under the influence. May put out an attempt to locate those vehicles so our officers can get in the area and look for them. And top 5 reports, so it's going to be officers responding to a residence and taking a report, destruction of property, vehicle burglaries, domestic batteries, so that's family disturbances, grand larceny of a motor vehicle, and assault with a deadly weapon. That can be, a deadly weapon could be pipe, wrench, knife, firearm, things like that. Whatever could be used to inflict death on a person. So those are our top 5 for your ward. All right, and moving on, specifically from your ward, this is our question and discussions. What are your community specific concerns?
Okay, thank you very much. So you want to go into questions is what you're going to, right?
If there's any questions,
Ben Johnson for the record, just want to say thank you for coming out. I do remember those reports that showed like how many each type of crime that you guys used to do. And we had talked about that a couple of times about redoing that. So I like to hear that, you have new software or new processes to do that. So I'd be excited to see once those are developed and you can start releasing them and bring them to the NABs. Be awesome. I don't really have any questions. So we're going to go to the board for selection. Megan,
Yeah.
want to go get started?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. If we can go back one slide, Councilmember Hebert for the record. On the first top 5 Reno Direct calls, there's 323 illegally parked vehicles. Do we know where that is? Is it just all over? Because I know we used to have real problems in this industrial area with like the big containers from big rigs just being kind of abandoned around. Is that still happening, or is this kind of just random vehicles throughout the board?
my guess would be these are random vehicles. As I said, we didn't get a chance to create kind of hotspot crime mapping for you all. I will tell you that number across all wards is pretty consistent. Number 1 on all the wards is illegally parked cars.
Yeah.
And I know like some of the other wards, I know some of the other hotspots for those wards. And I believe you just described kind of your hotspot for your ward.
Yeah.
We'll be able to map those out and take a look at those.
Great.
To give you all an idea, so parking enforcement, about a decade and a half ago, what fell under the Reno Police Department? Probably about 8 or 9 years ago, they separated that and housed that within the city of Reno. And then what I'm told is over the last year, it just recently came back to us. So this is a new component for us that we're taking a look at. I can tell you, on average, we get about 3,200 to 3,600 parking enforcement requests per month. And I have, it's either 3 or 4 parking enforcement employees that are currently out on the street servicing those requests.
Does the SAVE team help you with that? Do they go out and just
Yes.
kind of make sure that the car's still there so you're not going out for nothing?
Yeah, because we have such a shortage with our parking enforcement right now. We have tasked our SAVE unit which they are more than happy to get out there
Yeah.
and do the Lord's work. And they get out there and they get after it.
Yeah.
I can tell you most recently, I know parking around the VA has always been a challenge. One of the most recent complaints from residents down in that area is there were employees from the VA parking in like the 2-hour parking zones. So I had met with the chief and the deputy chief for the VA police, kind of gave them fair warning for their employees, and I let loose Save to go down there and bring some calm down there. In addition to that, they're doing a new building project. It's going to take a couple years, and it's really going to kind of get out of hand.
Yeah.
And so we've got to stay up on these parking issues really all over the place.
And I noticed too, there's traffic issues and then traffic. Can you kind of tell me what's
So if I had to guess, I would say the traffic issues are problems with speeding, going through red lights, stuff like that. I think traffic in and of itself is probably identifying traffic accidents.
okay?
If I had to guess, that's what I would say. That's what traffic is identifying there. So I would associate that with actual accidents, and I would take a look at traffic issues as, speeding, running red lights, calls of that nature,
Okay.
driving habits.
And the top 5 reports, I know this domestic battery is on that list, which I always hate to see. Where do we fall with other wards with that?
I think there have been 2 other wards, so you got to keep in mind the makeup of your ward as well. And I think there were at least 1, if not 2 other wards where it landed kind of right in the same. When you're looking at, a large portion of your ward being residential, you're going to have that concentration with that crime in particular.
Okay. Is that something, do you think that maybe as council or as a city, we could do some kind of outreach to let people know about services or something? Do you think that would be helpful?
Yeah, we can sure do something like that. We have our PIO. We have a unit that's designed to communicating with the public and reaching out to the public. We have our victim services unit as well. I know that they provide services for victims of domestic violence. So we can certainly sit down with them and take a look at what their messaging platform is. I know there's a limited number of them, so they of course have to prioritize who they go out and provide resources for. That's certainly something we can do.
Okay. And then assault with a deadly weapon, is that kind of tied to the domestic battery or is that something else?
It could be. Let me kind of discuss something going back to the transparency piece as far as crime reporting and crime data. Okay. Years ago, we had the uniform crime reporting, the UCR. Today, we use NIBRS, which is a different system. They're both federally regulated. But to give you an idea on crime reporting, the UCR, you could have a case that had domestic battery, assault with a deadly weapon, maybe it was a kidnapping, a whole host of crimes. Under the old UCR reporting criteria, we only reported the top crime. So whatever the heftiest crime was, that was the only thing that we reported. So all the other crimes that occurred within a specific incident were going unreported.
Okay.
Our new NIBR system takes into account every single crime that occurred, even in a single incident. So it gives us a truer accounting of the crimes that are occurring. When this was implemented about, 5-6 years ago, maybe, there was what it appeared to the public is there a spike in crime? And what we were trying to explain to everybody, no, there wasn't a spike. It's just before the reporting didn't require this stuff. And now we're reporting everything. So trying to get people to understand that, I think was a little difficult, but to go back to action in this new reporting system, yes, that could also be an inclusion of.
And then I have one last question. Sorry, probably gonna over my time. Clock cameras, do you guys receive any data from them? Do you have any, information about arrests or hit and runs that have been kind of solved because of license plates that were read by a clock camera? Do you guys use clock cameras in your particular field at all?
We do have flock cameras. I will tell you that obviously that's kind of a nasty word right now just because of the narrative that's out there. I will tell you that this last hit and run, like I said, that involved the 5-year-old that was killed by a hit and run suspect. It was cameras that allowed us to identify the vehicle. I have every confidence in the world that we'll probably have an arrest out of that case.
Okay. And was that a flock camera or somebody else's camera that like linked up?
I believe that was one of the flock cameras. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Kelsey Meno for the record. I'll just expand on that. I have just a few questions in regard to that because I know the last time RPD was here, it was discussed that they would have like citizens could sign up for like the ring cameras and providing that information. And so I was just alongside of like the flock cameras, what kind of like specific safeguards are going to be put into place to prevent misuse?
So I will tell you first off, it was called originally Fusus. It has since been bought out by Axon. If we go to a business and they say, you know what, I want to give the police department a camera to our front parking lot, but I don't want you to have visibility in, the back in the warehouse or our employee section. This program actually allowed the business owner to select the cameras they wanted us to view and deselect the cameras that they didn't want us to view. So it's completely in the hands of the individual or business that is authorizing that permission. They can take it away whenever they want, or they can grant us access whenever they want. When it comes to holding accountable, obviously through our policies, we're revamping our policies. Now, I know the stories that have been out there of it being abused. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee you that that will never happen in the city of Reno. I think what's important in that narrative is to understand that we have zero tolerance for abuse and violation of policies and law, and we will take action on those.
Okay. And then I just had a question about some of your wellness programs. It seems like to tie into the last time RPD was here, I know that there's been a lot of changes since then. They had spoken about a 2024 grant from the DOJ. And so is that those programs, is that directly tied to that, or is that in addition to?
It is going to be tied to that. It's the wellness funding, the grant funding that we have. The wellness programs that we are employing and the ones that we are looking at will all be grant funded through that wellness initiative.
Would you be able to expound a little bit on like what the emphasis is going to be on?
Really, the emphasis is getting the resources to our officers. I will tell you this, in the military, just like law enforcement, you have a certain personality, right? And there was a stigma years ago. I can attest to that, being hired back in the 90s, that if you showed weakness or if you identified an issue that maybe you were coping with, then there was a stigma attached to it. And so we learned very early on that you maintain that stoic face. You don't show any weakness. You don't show anything. You don't talk to anybody about anything because you feared that you would be either removed from the job or lose your job altogether. So really the battle is combating that stigma. What the military did specifically in the special operations community is they made it a mandated part of a debriefing of a traumatic event. So for military, after you served overseas, when you came back home, you were required to go through essentially a wellness program. And it was met with resistance early on, but I actually had talks with some of the doctors that were stationed down in Coronado with SEAL Team 5. And they said it probably took about 1.5 to 2 years before that stigma went away and before it was accepted as just a normal cycle of doing things. And so we're taking that same model and we're requiring, obviously, our officers to go through wellness treatment and evaluation post a traumatic event, most notably with our officer-involved shootings. But we're also now expanding that and offering that to being a part of a traumatic event, such as a 5-year-old getting run over by a car or somebody being killed out in public or a suicide or something like that. We've expanded that wellness initiative to all of our folks, not just to those involved in shootings.
Okay, because I was curious, I believe in the original grant, it had peer mentorship, and that wasn't something that was discussed previously. And so I was just curious, because I think that that is something that helps eliminate that stigma. And so is that something that is going to be part of that wellness program?
Yes, there's actually two parts to the peer mentorship, and we call it peer support, really. The first part is you're absolutely right. An officer is going to be hesitant on coming up to a sergeant or a lieutenant or command staff and say, hey, I have some issues. Can we talk about it? They're just going to be naturally resistant to that. So offering that up at the peer level is one thing. The other thing we kind of identified is, the hesitation now is if I talk to a fellow officer who may be a peer support officer, we might be on the next call together, and I don't want them to second guess me. So maybe I'll be resistant on talking at the peer level. So the other part of that we're looking at is we're looking at outside resources. That includes our sister agencies, Washoe County and Sparks Police Department. They have peer support programs as well, and they're very open. We've sat down and had talks about, maybe reaching out to a peer from another agency is a better avenue, and to where we offer that support and that mentorship with the other two agencies.
Okay, very cool.
We're looking at ways to improve breaking down those barriers and really letting our people know it is okay to not be okay. Come get support. We support you and we have resources for you.
Okay. And then I think that I also just want to raise concerns, just because anecdotally I've heard officers talk about not wanting to do training, like specialized training for dealing with people with disabilities specifically. And since you are kind of rebranding and being more transparent, I just wanted to, I understand that those interactions can be incredibly complicated and difficult for anybody involved. But I just wanted to see if there was, I know that in the past a while ago, I think it was the Justin Hope Foundation, they had a training for police officers. I don't think that they're in, that they do that anymore, or if they're in business, but I don't know if that's something, those like specialty, like trainings, like yearly trainings or whatever, for specific interactions with different demographics occurs within the organization, or how that, I just wanted to kind of put that out there. That is something that unfortunately I've personally heard and think that could probably be better. So.
Absolutely. One thing we do is our officers do receive 40 hours of crisis intervention training in the academy that we bring in our mobile outreach team to teach that class. And that is how they get that experience and how to talk to people who are not only in crisis, but who may potentially have one of these mental health issues. So they do receive that training in their academy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's everything that I have.
Thank you. Trent Keller for the record. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Appreciate everything you guys do. I actually only had one question because I've witnessed it firsthand, is the e-bike issues that you have run into. My brother lives in South Reno and I've seen some crazy stuff kind of going on the roads. Do your officers have problems kind of tracking them down and getting them to actually stop, or do they kind of just scatter? Do you run into problems actually apprehending them and stopping them, in the moment?
In the moment, yes, I would say it's a little bit of both. Number one, by the time we get into an area, they're long gone. When we have gotten into areas, because it just so happened we had an officer nearby, they take off in those little side trails.
Yeah.
I will say that, and again, as part of community policing, we've gone out and talked to like the Chevron gas owner and talked to other business owners and residents. Everybody knows who they are. We're actually able to track down one core group of them and understand and know where they live, and we'll be following up with them.
Gotcha. And then what are the consequences, I guess, that come with that in those situations?
We are looking at various options to include seizing the bikes.
Okay.
If they commit violations. We're talking with our city attorney's office to really kind of, I'm going to say sharpen our teeth, but get a little more teeth.
Yeah.
I have 6 kids. You know what? My kids understand if there are consequences, that's their guiding beacon.
Yeah.
If I do this, there are consequences. So what do they? They don't do that. I don't know. For me, it was that simple. 6 kids. And I think you know, when you go back to the traffic thing too, I think people understand their consequences of paying a smaller fine. I'm not saying we need to go heavy handed, but I think it's human nature. You know, if you touch a hot stove, so I think the understanding is if there are consequences to your actions, then you might rethink your actions.
Do you think that's a problem that's going to continue? Because it's a problem pretty nationwide in a lot of big cities. Do you think that with social media and the attention that it gets, that it's going to continue to be a bigger problem, or kind of hoping to?
I think it will. And I think part of the discussion we're having with our city attorney's office is what ordinance, you know, can we enact that deals with e-bikes in particular? We have to be more restrictive, obviously. What does that look like? Maybe it'll come up in the state legislature, but I think at the city level and local ordinance level, we're already sitting down, like I said, with our attorneys to see what that looks like in ways of city ordinances.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
We do have Kelly online.
Hello.
Kelly, I'm not sure if you have any questions, but go ahead.
Hi, good evening. This is Kelly, or for the record, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming out. We've missed you. I just wanted to ask a few questions. Just how many active patrol beats are, assigned, explicitly assigned north of McCarran during a standard shift? And then do you guys partner with Washoe County Sheriff's Office to help fill any regional gaps?
Yes, north of McCarran in our North District, we would have 3 beats assigned. More specifically to the Stead area, we have 2. So there's going to be 2 police officers up here. And yes, we absolutely do reach out for emergencies with Washoe County to see if they have a unit that can aid us in response.
Yeah, thank you guys. My last question is, I know you guys have been pushing, the forward facing, like different web portals and just kind of revamping the systems. Given that our ward is geographically isolated from the core of Reno, when can we expect that portal to go live? And I may have missed that if that was already just said, so my apologies.
We're looking, we're operating off of, I guess, what you call the beta version right now. And as soon as our tech folks have, so they're getting input from our officers who are on the road saying, no, you know what, we want to have this available. They're helping kind of tweak that program and what it looks like. In addition to that, we have a public facing portal that also will display crime data as well. I'm told that is in its final phases before that gets posted on our website as well.
Okay. And again, thank you guys so much for being out here. I noticed, I work in South Reno, so I do, understand what you guys are talking about with the e-bikes. I do see it in my neighborhood out here in North Reno, but more I see is kids, not just on the e-bikes, but on quads and little motorcycles, like on the sidewalks, in the streets, no helmets. I mean, going to Walmart, going to Smith's, going, the back of Military and Lemon, and we've had a few fatalities out here this past Saturday with motorcycles. Are you guys aware of that? And what are you guys kind of doing to help mitigate that?
So we're currently, I guess one change, I guess I could have told you, when we first got here, we were kind of short for a lieutenant for traffic. We had a lieutenant who was kind of doing dual hat between units. Over the last couple of weeks, we actually designated a lieutenant for our traffic section. And kind of answer one of your previous questions as well. Within traffic specifically, we are partnering up with Washoe County and doing joint operations for traffic enforcement. They are more than happy to work with us and us with them on tackling our traffic issue throughout the city.
No, thank you so much. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Kelly. Does anyone in the public have any questions they'd like to ask? No? Okay. I think we're good. Thank you very much, Nelson.
All right, thank you.
All right. We're gonna go backwards in the agenda now.
So
And we're gonna go to 80. And are you ready for Liverpool?
You guys,
All right, we're gonna go to 85. Capital Way.
yeah, I have a lot of great stuff to report, so I'm gonna do this, and then I have some other stuff that's not written down to show you as well. So, first thing I wanted to share is there was, a meeting this week to discuss potential uses of the decommissioned Stead Elementary School on Stead. It was a community meeting just to get feedback so that they can use that information to inform, what kind of proposals they'll look for in the future. During that meeting, I did meet, someone from UNR that had interest in using part of the facility as well. So there is a potential for City of Reno and UNR to partner to use that facility. UNR would use it for a particular program that they're thinking of expanding. And they don't need the whole campus, so maybe we can work together. They can use part for their program and we can use the rest. And there's potential for small businesses to rent spaces. There's a lot of individual buildings. So there could be things like karate lessons, dance classes, knitting, I'm not sure, yeah. So there's a lot of great potential there. I'm very excited about it. City management and myself will be having a meeting with some people at UNR to discuss what kind of proposal we can put forward for that. So extremely excited about that. It's potentially a drone type program for the university, which I'm very excited about considering the proximity to the Stead Airport. So really happy about that. Tomorrow we have a senior resource fair at the Neal Road Rec Center. And there's always tons of resources there. It's county resources, all kind of local resources, health department information, just anything, senior might think that they need help with, their phone number for somebody. Also different types of insurance agents there, maybe to talk about different Medicare options, things like that. So it's really great services for people, or, if you help take care of a loved one that's a senior that maybe has mobility issues and can't make it, if that's something you could go to, there's tons of information and it's extremely helpful. And there's so many resources available through the county. I can't list them all, but there's, you can get meals provided, you can get assistance with doing like chores, like laundry and tidying up and things like that. So just want to make sure everyone knows about that. And again, that's at the Neal Road Rec Center from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Art in the Park is going to be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this invites artists of all skill levels and ages to share their artwork in the open air of Reno's public parks with no permit or fee requirement. So this is just something to do at the parks. They're encouraging artists to come out and either create some art or share their art. So there's no registration or permits required. And it's going to occur every Saturday from June 13th to September 5th. So it's already been happening, but I haven't shared it before because it's mostly been in the more downtown area. And it's at Bicentennial Park at 10 Ralston Street is going to be one, a specific one, sorry, from September 5th. God, I'm messing this up so bad. This one is June 15th through September 5th at Bicentennial Park on Ralston Street. There's also something called Off the Rails. It's happening on August 28th from 6 to 10 p.m. at Local Motion Plaza. So this is for a free summer outdoor concert presented by Offbeat Music Festival. So there's kids activities, food trucks. It's located off the Locomotion Plaza from 6 to 10 p.m. There's also the Great Reno Balloon Race is coming up September 10th through the 13th from 3:30 a.m. I will not be there for that till 11 a.m. The Great Reno Balloon Race is the world's largest free hot air balloon event. During the 4 days in early September, you can look up into Reno skies and see a rainbow of hot air balloons soaring above. This is really a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have gone to it or taken your kids to it, but it's a lot of fun to see them out there just kind of bouncing around. Then there's the Northern Nevada Pride Parade is coming up on September 12th at 10 a.m. This is the Northern Nevada Pride celebrates the diversity and acceptance of the LGBTQ plus community. The Pride Parade steps off at 10 a.m. down Liberty and California Avenue in downtown Reno, followed by the festival beginning at 11 a.m. in Midtown, featuring live entertainment and music on multiple stages, community art, and vendors, food trucks, and fun for all ages. So those are always a really great fun event. So I highly recommend. For more information, you could visit northernnevadapride.org. And for more events, you can visit Reno.gov /calendars. So there's a lot of stuff happening. While it's still good weather out for sure, there's more outdoor stuff happening. The next upcoming NAB is going to be on September 17th. And there's going to be a development for a project called it's on Dandini South, and it's for a residential project. So it's for a tentative map to establish 96 single lot family detached homes. So they'll be coming to the next NAB meeting. So if you have questions or recommendations, or just if you want to hear about the potential project, come to the next NAB on September 17th, same location. And upcoming meetings, we have our next Reno City Council meeting is this coming Wednesday, August 26th. The following meeting is going to be September 9th, and the next Planning Commission meeting is September 2nd. Those are in City Hall downtown. They start at, I believe, 6 p.m. Yeah, and they go till they're done. This is where they discuss all the development happening in the whole city of Reno. It's not ward specific. So that's really great to go to, or you can watch on YouTube, provide a public comment too as well. And then aside from all that, yesterday we had a really great announcement. I got to go down to the Capitol with Christy as well, and other City of Reno staff to make an announcement about a company called High Solutions that's moving into the currently vacant Amazon facility, and it's going to be and it's going to be advanced manufacturing of technical components. So these are going to be highly skilled, well compensated positions. This is in my opinion a great opportunity for this board for better paying jobs, for repurposing of large vacant spaces. And I have brought with me some materials about the company and also some information about employment. So they're not going to be open for a little bit, but they are going to be looking for staff before they open. So they're when they first open, they're going to have about 730 employees, but they're looking to gear up to probably close to 3,000 at their max capacity. So really exciting project, and I'm really excited for the potential to have people that live in the valleys and work in the valleys and keep some of that traffic and congestion off our roads. And I'm sure people that live here would appreciate that kind of commute to stay local, and also it will help provide that lunch crowd that we desperately need to get our restaurants to come here. We'll have people that will want to have an Olive Garden or something to go to for lunch. So very excited. I kind of feel like this is a first domino tipping to get this going to be more of a tech hub, not necessarily just data centers, because they only have a few jobs, but This is going to be a great employment opportunity and economic opportunity for this whole area. So very excited for that, especially coinciding with what could potentially happen with UNR out here. I'm just very excited for things that are happening in this community right now. So yeah. But I'm sorry I was a little dry going through this, but I was, it's been a really great week for news and opportunities for our ward. And just very excited. If anybody has any questions or is interested about High Solutions or their employment opportunities, like I said, I have flyers here in both English and Spanish. So if anyone has any questions. No, I have no questions. Yeah, you have questions, Ben?
I do not.
Okay. Very exciting.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're gonna go to A6 for staff.
All right, thank you, Chair. No training tonight, just gonna share some reminders and other information. Everyone, college dive staff we use on for the record. Like I said, no training, just some information and reminders. Gets working here. I figured I would add this opening slide. I'm not sure it's super relevant tonight, but I think when we have a lot of people here, especially people who haven't been to the NAB before, sometimes it's nice to know how we kind of run through items. So generally, we have general public comment items at the beginning and end of each meeting. Those allot 3 minutes per public speaker, and you must provide a public comment form either before or after you speak. And then for the general flow of development business items, like we did during the RPD update, we'll hear a presentation, then questions from the board, followed by public comment and questions from the public. I wanted to provide some resources. The chief mentioned Reno Direct. So Reno Direct is the city's non-emergency service center. If you have any questions or inquiries about the city of Reno, you can reach them by phone or by online service request at Reno.gov/Reno Direct. And as always, the city has multiple newsletters. If you'd like to sign up and stay in the loop with city news, this Ward 4 is a newsletter where you'll get updates about NAB agendas and other general Ward 4 updates. We have a development projects newsletter, which lets you know what comes into the development services department every 2 weeks. And you'll get planning commission agendas there as well. We have a council agendas newsletter for council agendas. And then we have the Reno report, which provides a snapshot of the latest Reno news from city manager Jackie Bryant. Like Councilmember Ebert mentioned, the Olmsted Elementary School reuse evaluation process is outlined here and the timeline that they've used for this project. There's a community listening session coming up. I guess August 18th was 2 days ago. That date's correct. But that website is linked there if you want to look into the results of the survey or any other information that you are looking for. Another engagement opportunity at our last meeting, we had Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful here. I wanted to provide information about their upcoming cleanup because it'll come right before our next NAB meeting on September 17th. But if you're interested, take a look at their website. They also have a newsletter you can sign up for if you're interested in being notified about when their cleanup events are and other events that you might be interested in. I started rolling out some development highlights to the other NAB, so I'm going to do that here as well, just to give you an update on what's happened with the projects that we might have seen here. So the first one is the North Hills Townhomes. This was scheduled for the NAB in May. That NAB was canceled due to a lack of quorum. It was approved by the Planning Commission, then appealed to City Council. So City Council heard that appeal on July 29th. And upheld the Planning Commission's decision. So they kept the approval. The next one we saw at our last NAB in July, it was the Zero North Virginia outdoor storage that was associated with the landscaping business, I believe it was. So this is a request for a zoning map amendment from suburban mixed use to mixed implement and a conditional use permit for outdoor storage and residential adjacency, as well as a major deviation to reduce the distance applied for residential adjacency standards from 300 feet to 150 feet. This site is located east of the intersection of North Virginia Street and Wellington Way. And after some discussion, both of these projects were approved in the August 5th. The last development update I have for you is the MBE5 tentative map and conditional use permit. This was also heard at the July NAB. It's a request for a conditional use permit and tentative map for a 394 lot single family attached subdivision The site is located on the north side of Ferrari McLeod Boulevard and Lone Star Park Lane. This was also approved at last night's planning commission meeting. That's all I have for past development projects. We have a development on the agenda today that is tentatively scheduled to be heard by the city council on September 9th. So please turn in your project review worksheets by the 26th, next Wednesday. This is the best way to ensure your feedback is noted in the public record, including consideration in the city council's review. And then we have that requirement for one of our board officers to submit public comment. This is not your personal public comment, just comment on kind of how the discussion went tonight. If the NAB or members of the public had any concerns and maybe how the applicant addressed them. I kept this slide in here. This is for anyone who has concerns about military road construction. If you do, contact RTC. Those project hotline contacts, the phone number or the email. That is all I have for you tonight. Just as Councilmember Ebert said, these are the upcoming meeting dates. Council next Wednesday, Planning Commission the Wednesday after that, and then the Ward 4 now meeting is scheduled for September 17th. Somebody answer any questions?
I just, Kelsey Minow for the record, I just have a question in regard to the gentleman. Eric Morgan. He said that he would be putting out a they were going to do a community listening session, I think, for in August.
Okay.
But he didn't have a specific date, and I don't know if that ever happened or not.
Sure.
And so I know that we're like almost out of August time now, but I figured I would follow up and see if that had ever gotten out, if they had ever actually reached out to the community that lives in that
Yes,
area.
they are supposed to use the same noticing list that the city uses. So if you get those little pink cards, they're supposed to notice that exact same list. But I'll reach out to the planner on that project and see if they have that information. And I'll send that out. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get that. Thanks.
Alright. I don't have any questions. No? Okay. Sorry, I guess I'm speaking really softly. We're gonna move on to our development projects. B1, the Newport Lane Street abandonment.
Yes. James here?
Yes.
Hi, James. There is a clicker up on the recording. One second. James, go ahead, state your name for the record and begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Darrell with Arrow Pro Land Surveys, representing or I am the applicant, representing the owner of the parcel for case number LD 7-0006. So what the application is for, it's requesting a street abandonment for a portion of Newport Lane, the Newport Lane right of way in Panther Valley. The owner is requesting an area that he has occupied, or the parcel has occupied through a fence line. We did some research for in regards to the area, and the area his end goal, his lot size now is roughly 22,000 square feet. Address 1600 Newport Lane, and his goal is to increase his lot size to 3,000 square feet so that it may be eligible for division to create 2 new lots. Currently, it's 1. There's an older manufactured home on the site that he's looking to demolish when the time comes. But at this point, he's trying to determine through the application if the city is going to allow him to obtain a portion of an abandoned right-of-way. Now, the abandonment area is kind of unique. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Panther Valley. I'll go ahead and pull the vicinity map up and go back to this slide. Here's Maverick. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with Maverick on North Virginia. Here's where all the construction's occurring. You go into Panther Valley. Just have a pointer at.
It's usually the button on the very top.
Anyhow, Here's the site. So the lot was created, I believe, in the 1980s. Newport Lane. Nope. Newport Lane was the first road that came through the area, and since then there's development that's occurred around him. And what had occurred was when his lot was created, it wasn't yet a part of the city of Reno jurisdiction. So what had occurred was the city of Reno annexed this area through a blanket annexation, and that's how this leftover remainder parcel became the city of Reno's property. Prior to that, though, we have photos dating to 1994 that show this parcel occupying a fence that was outside of his property line. So over the years, when development went through the area through this remainder piece, everybody built around his fence. Although that fence wasn't is located outside of his existing boundary. So this is his property here. Here's the building. This line with the squares on it is where his fence line is constructed, and it's been there, as far as we could tell, at least since 1994. So the area in gray is the area that he's trying to request street abandonment so he can obtain that and increase the size of his lot. So as you can see, when this road was constructed, here's his fence line. Here's the edge of the existing pavement. Everybody's recognizing his fence line as being his property. On this side, there was a Tumwa came into the neighborhood to provide water service. They've also constructed this line outside of this area where that fence has been located since at least 1994. So this area has kind of been no man's land because it's outside of the right of way here, outside of the right of way here, outside of this fence line, and the only people that's been using it is this parcel here. So going back to the original application, some of the proposed abandonment area has been fenced and occupied by the subject parcel for over 30 years. Photographic evidence shows the fence line has been in place since at least 1994. Additional right-of-way is also included with this request that is located outside of the area that he's been occupying in order to meet the 3,000 square foot minimum as discussed above. So we know where the vicinity, where the property is located. So here's the photographic evidence. This is courtesy Google Earth historical images. This is dated June 1994, and you can see through his vegetation where this fence line is located. Thank you. Another aerial photo circa December 2002, a little more clear, a little more defined. You can see where his fence line is located, still following that same geometry. And then more recently, Google Earth May 2025, the fence line still existing. Everything's been developed around that lot. And this is that remainder piece is kind of no man's land ever since before actually the city obtained that area through the annexation. We discussed the plan. So typically with the application, you have to identify the potential impacts. Our assumption is the potential impacts are null because the usage isn't changing for the parcel currently. The the owner is going to continue to use it as it exists now. He wants to obtain the land so that he may have options moving forward with further development. No mitigation of impacts is needed to complete the project. Additional impacts will be assessed with the future parcel map application if and when the owner decides to divide the parcel into 2 lots. The next public hearing is the tentative city council meeting date, September 9th, 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what's on
Okay.
the agenda.
And then I forgot to add, this should have been the planning meeting. That should have been the date for the planning meeting, because I think that's the next one coming
I
up.
think abandonments go straight to council.
Okay,
Yeah, so you had the next planning commission meeting, but abandonments go straight to city council.
okay.
Yeah.
So my error is, thank you.
Yes.
So if there's any questions from the NAB or the respective councilwoman.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Ben Johnson record. I mean, I don't really. Yeah, you'll have a problem. I mean, it seems like a small ask. But I mean, I don't have any questions. Megan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I do. Do you know if the property taxes the property owner has been paying reflect the additional area that they've put their fence around?
I don't believe so. I believe that probably on the assessor's record, and this is just going off my assumption. That's a good question, actually. I believe the assessor's area of that parcel is what's on the record. It doesn't go out to the fence.
Okay, so is it fair to assume that this person put the fence up without doing any kind of surveying of their actual property lines?
That would be a good assumption to make. When he did that, I think is a bigger question. I mean, we have evidence from 1994 that he's occupied that land, and that triggers other occupation laws when a person outright occupies a piece of land for over 7 years. There's ways that he can obtain that land. And I think the way he did it outright is that the city and Tumwa and the other entities built around him. And I'm sure they were probably aware that that fence did not match his boundary lines, would be my assumption.
I wouldn't assume that. But
I mean,
yeah,
I
would assume somebody wouldn't build their fence that significantly out of their property line. Like that is a large fence. That was a lot of work that went into that. So I'm surprised they wouldn't survey the area and make sure it was within their property line. So now they want to come in and get additional property so they can divide the lots into 2. What is their intent then after it's divided into 2? Sell it?
Oh, well, the intent is to develop it and to, I don't know if he's going to sell the lots or if he's going to use them as rentals. But that's his intent, is to divide it so he can develop both lots.
Okay.
It's zoned residential.
Residential.
Correct.
Okay, what type of residential? What's the?
I believe it's SF3 or 4.
Okay, so what could he develop on it now? Just one home?
Correct.
Okay, so he's looking to do multifamily potentially?
No, it's going to be single family.
Okay. Okay, so no request for zone change.
No.
Okay.
He was trying to maybe entertain the idea of going in for a higher density single family, kind of similar to what's across the street. But through our preliminary meetings, they said because you're on this side, you're going to have to follow whatever existing zoning where you're.
Yeah, it's also Panther Valley's kind of hit its upper limit with how many people can live in there too because of the access to it. Like there's not enough entrance and exits. I mean, it's maybe 1 or 2 more could go in, but I don't know if fire will continue to approve more residential in there. I mean, it's probably getting down to like 1 or 2, seriously. So, okay. and I don't want to say it from home, but like, I just know that we're kind of, maxed out there on how many people can get safely in and out if there was an emergency.
Okay. And like I say, he's trying to increase the size now just to give him options.
Yeah. Thank you.
Gary, have anything?
No, that's it. Thanks so much.
No, good points were just brought to my attention. Thank you.
I do not think. Kelly, do you have any questions?
Hi, good evening, Kelly Orr for the record. Thank you for bringing this to us. That was my first question, Megan, that kind of asked about property taxes. I'm on the assessor's website right now at 1600 Newport Lane. It looks like somebody put up a fence, like you're saying, and then established boundaries where nobody challenged them, because in this day and age, to do those searches and to pay somebody to survey the land is very expensive. So I would ask city council to have that paid for and go back into public record and to really do some homework, because it does look like they've owned that land for some time. But I guess my question is that something that the owner is looking to do, is just build like for like in that neighborhood?
Correct. He's zoned, I think it's SF 3 or 4. So he's got he was trying to go for a smaller density or a higher density to match north of Newport Lane in the subdivided areas, but they said because he's surrounded on the south side by the larger lots, he'd have to abide by that current zoning.
Is he on sewer or public water? And
He's on public sewer and public water.
okay. 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 Yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly. Is anyone in the public want to ask any questions? You know? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh crap, I just spaced out. Hold on a second, minute here. Has the property owner spoken with the surrounding neighbors about this potential change?
There is a card that goes out during this process, through the planning process. I don't know if he's spoken with them directly, other than the adjoiner to the south, speaking of his plans, but the home that's there that he's renting now is older. And I believe it doesn't coincide with the neighborhood. So I think there's motivation to improve that area.
Okay, so did the neighbor that they talked to, did they seem supportive of this or just neutral?
Supportive.
Is that in the interest of kind of just, improving the
I
neighborhood?
think so.
Okay. Is there, no, I lost it again. Hold on. I got like a hamster on a wheel up here right now. So hold on. So he hasn't been paying property taxes on this space. He wants to extend it out. Is this person like recently bought the property or have they owned it for a long time?
He's a recent buyer.
How recent?
Within the last, I want to say 6 years.
Okay, so he bought this probably with the intent of developing, yes?
He comes from a construction background, so I would say yes.
Okay. So he plans on demoing what's existing and building new construction, probably, right? Potentially.
Say that again.
Is the intent probably to demo what's existing and build new?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a kind of, what's there now is a conglomerate of buildings, and he wants a new construction all the way
Okay.
around.
So how did this get through the purchasing process without it coming to attention that the fence was significantly outside the property line.
To purchase a property, it doesn't need to be surveyed, right? So when you're purchasing a piece of property, if it's not part of the agreement, then the assumption is the fence is land you're
Well,
purchasing.
when I bought my house, I had a lot of like very specific stuff that showed like the boundary line, like the fence lines, things like that. So I would assume that there would be something like that with this property.
I can't speak for the owner, but he seemed like he was aware that the fence was outside of the property that he purchased. But the property's been there so long that that's kind of what started this
Yeah. So
inquiry.
he bought it with like bonus land already, and now he wants additional bonus land so he could develop it.
Well,
Assessment.
well, he's been coordinating with the city, you know, since his purchase on whose land is this? I'd like to obtain it.
Well, that's more.
So he hired
That's
me.
not coordinating, that's like communicating, right, with the city to find out who it belongs to.
Correct. So the city, we went through this whole process with the city to find everything on the record, and the only thing the city can find on the record that whose property is that they, because of their annexation, that's how it became theirs. Else, it would be no man's land because it's sitting in an area that was left over from 3 different developments.
Did they put the fence up before the annexation?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a permit from the fence up?
It predates any permits. I mean, it's probably one of the oldest lots in this particular area.
Well, I mean, a lot doesn't mean that usually the fence, but okay, so whoever had that land probably wasn't paying property taxes on it, they've already sold it. And now this person is also getting the tax benefit. Okay, thank you. That was my question.
And just one more comment. There is a right of way on the south side that the fence goes into, and what the city has said in the if and when you move forward with a parcel map or a building permit, that he will be asked to remove that fence that's within the right of way. See right here. So right here, you can see his fence. It's encroaching into this right of way by probably about 20
Yeah,
feet.
it's not his property. Yeah.
Correct. But you go out there, and like I said, everybody's recognizing it as his property. All these fence lines all coincide together. Here's the road. If you look at the road, it's centered right in that this right of way. And what has occurred is that this property has been here so long. What I believe occurred is that these right of ways are after the fact. They're after the fact that any of these subdivisions were developed, and that these were exist on paper only, and no one took the time to have this property owner move that fence.
Well, I'm really interested in the tax implications because this is kind of like, you know, trying to have it both ways, like you want the additional, not you, but
Yeah.
they want the additional space. There's an acknowledgement that part of it is the right of way, or we're all supposed to acknowledge that that is owned by that parcel owner because it's been acknowledged by utilities, but there hasn't been an acknowledgement of ownership through taxes or through the county assessor. So kind of which one is it?
That would be up for, I mean, if it went to litigation, that would be up for a judge to determine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
All I do is call them as I see them. It's not, I don't do the judgment portion.
Yeah. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have some cards. If anybody wanted a card, they could contact me.
If you want, people over on the end of the corner.
Okay.
With some of the pamphlets that make it problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to our last business item. Which is the advanced purified water. Project.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having us on the agenda. My name is Nick Brothers, Senior Civil Engineer in the City of Reno. Wanted to provide the community with an update on this big project and more specifically set expectations for construction, what the time frame is like, who to call if there's issues, and what noise and other construction nuisance mitigations are going to be going on throughout the project. I'll provide a project overview, just a reminder of what this project is, what are the different components, where activities will be taking place. Then I'll give you all a construction time frame, go over our mitigations. I have a brief request for anybody who's a part of the Sky Vista HOA area, and then provide contact information so you can follow up with any questions. So the One Water Nevada Advanced Purified Water Facility in American Flat has a number of components. We have a new treatment facility on the corner of Lear and Military. We have improvements at the Reno-Stead Water Reclamation Facility, a pipeline which goes all the way up through the airport property, which we're at, and then injection wells into the aquifer at the American Flat Farm. So this project is really exciting for engineers and people that have been working on it for a long time to advance our water resources regionally. It's Nevada's first Category A+ water recycling project. So that's taking our water resource from the water recycling that already occurs at our water reclamation facility, and it treats it all the way up to drinking water standards. And then that water can be utilized to augment our aquifers and be used in the future for drinking. This is really cool. This facility will produce 2 million gallons a day, and it is a City of Reno and Chuckey Meadows Water Authority joint venture. And one of the reasons that we've been out here in the North Valleys is due to the years of aquifer investigations and the geotechnical capacity of the aquifer here at American Flat. Just quickly, just for interest, an overview of the treatment technologies. Coagulation, flocculation, ahead of various filtering technologies is one of the main treatments that's going to be going on. So we'll have coagulation and flocculation, which is the addition of some chemical that helps bind particles together, make them a little bit bigger so they can be removed. And then at my facility, which is Reno-Stead, we will be floating the particles out with dissolved air, followed by dual media filtration and ultraviolet disinfection. Across the street, we go through ozone treatment, which helps break down things like contaminants of emerging concern, things that aren't even regulated yet. Ozone technology can help break those apart and make them bioavailable for degradation in this biological activated carbon filter. We'll follow that treatment up with granular activated carbon, which is the same technology as your Brita filter. Helps remove any final thing. We call this the polishing steps, followed by a final disinfection step and then groundwater injection. So that's kind of the quick and dirty of that. I want to talk about the Lear parcel in particular, since it's the closest to residents out here. This is the new treatment facility building. We'll have a public education area where folks can schedule time to come and learn about the treatment process and learn about our water resources regionally. And then a couple of additional buildings, pump stations, and finished water supply to be pumped up the hill. I have some renderings here of what the facility is going to look like. This is the kind of looking towards the north. Military would be back here, and this is Lear. During construction, the contract will require all the folks working on this project to maintain working hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5:30s. We expect them to be out by 5, Monday through Friday, no holidays, and no weekend work without project manager approval. We recognize during the planning process that noise mitigation, since this construction is happening in the Sky Vista neighborhood, is a big concern, and the contractor has these various mitigations in place. So where possible, the use of like electric power tools, for example, where needed, noise control blankets or barriers can be used to block noise from air compressors or generators that are being used temporarily on site. We have a requirement that equipment is turned off when not in use and no extended idling of large machinery on the property, things like that. In addition, we have Washoe County dust control permit and need to maintain dust control on all the construction activities throughout the project. Long-term noise is something that was addressed during the conditional use permitting process for this project. And just a reminder that all of the machinery, pumps, everything is going to be indoors. And we performed a noise study to make sure that we're below what the ambient noise is. And we're actually at like 45 decibels at the property line, which is fairly quiet. Like the ambient noise in the area is like 56, so we're quite a bit below. But I have more information if anyone wants to get into the conditional use permit and specific questions. This project does have a lengthy time period of construction. It's approximately 30 months. The project was approved by City Council and the Truckee Meadows Water Authority Board May 20th and 27th, respectively, of this year. And we've just gotten to the part where we're starting to get going the last couple of weeks. That puts our finish date for construction like spring of 2029, maybe the December of 2028. However, I'll say based on the contractor's schedule, we're seeing that a lot of the buildings are hoping to be constructed like up and starting to put stuff in the inside. So construction activities would move inside next summer, maybe the end of next summer. Yeah. For those folks who do live in Sky Vista, the project has been coordinating with Sky Vista HOA specifically for the community sign that's out on the corner of Lear and Military. We've offered to relocate that sign in the neighborhood and reconstruct a pedestal, move that for them. And we have some landscaping around the outside of the facility, including a pedestrian path and a bridge. But without HOA votes, that agreement can't go forward, and we won't be able to conduct that amenity as a part of the project. So please coordinate with the HOA if you see something you're interested in having. And that's pretty quick. Here's the construction team. Myself would be a good person to contact for the city of Reno. Ryan Owens, is the construction manager for the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, and then Colton and Rebecca, who represent the prime contractor, and we also a good resource for anything that's going on site during the day. I brought some handouts and we've done some door knocking and flyers for the neighbors. But please take one if you'd like to have our contact information. And I guess I'll answer questions regarding the project.
Thank you very much. Ben Johnson, Director. One question I did have, bordering Lear to Military around the property, will there be sidewalks put in? Because right now there is none on that corner. It's on the, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the opposite side of Lear. It's where the sidewalk is. So I'm just curious if finalize finish construction, will there be sidewalks bordering the property?
Yes, there will. So along Lear and Military, part of it is coordination with RTC's project for widening. There will be pedestrian improvements put back along the roadway. Along the back of the facility is that pedestrian bridge and walkway portion would be paved, and then there would be a gravel path. And that would be the extent of the improvements on that side.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Megan?
Yes, I did. You mentioned the family building where people can get like education about what's going on there. Is that gonna be like a permanent fixture?
Yes, it will.
Take tours, is that something like maybe the school district can have like field trips go there and kind of learn about it?
Yes, we've been coordinating with public outreach team for Chuck Meadows Water Authority, as well as some of our educators and the university for a collaboration space with university students. A lot of the education materials will be kind of geared at middle school and above, but we have reviewed the criteria for earth sciences and other things like that. So we can educate people on the hydrologic cycle
Yeah,
and also water treatment and chemistry that's
That's
going on
great.
there.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so also, I know the city of Orange has like a water thing where they go through the ground and everything. How similar is this? Do you know anything about that one? And if so, how
Yeah.
similar is this to that one?
Yes, I visited Orange County facilities, and a lot of the groundwater injection in Southern California is specifically directed at preventing saltwater intrusion into the ground aquifer there, and preserving freshwater resources and not letting the ocean come in. But it's essentially the same process. So we'll have highly purified water. It will get pumped up to an injection well and then injected into the ground. A little bit further away, Tomal will operate extraction wells, so they'll pull out essentially what they put in and have kind of a loop
Okay,
with some
So-
storage.
do you know how long they've been using that type of system in Orange County, California? It's not your system, sorry, it's fine.
I think that that's been going on since either the early 2000s or late 90s. And
Okay,
I know, and just as being a proponent of water recycling and drinking the water from these resources, that Disneyland has if you've used a drinking fountain there, you've been drinking recycled water for a long
Yeah.
time.
yeah. And I just like to have that information just because there are a lot of people that have concerns about using this system. But I want people to know that we're not the first ones, we're not the guinea pigs, and this is in use in a lot of places and you know, we're not just putting it in and taking it back out of the same spot, we're putting it in, taking it in another area, and the process of getting from one to the other is a lot of natural filtration. So, thank you.
I have no questions.
Sure. No questions. Kelly,
Good evening, everybody. Kelly Orr for the record. I do have a few questions, just statement. I am on the HOA board for Sky Vista. We have gone door knocking as well. Have you coordinated door knocking with us? Because I have not seen you guys out there.
No, we have not. We just did it as a construction project. I personally am the one that did it, and I primarily looked at the properties directly adjacent to the Lear parcel, and those are the ones that I've reached out to.
Gotcha. I'm adjacent to the Lear project and I don't think I've seen any info. I'm off of I'm right, yeah, I'm right there off Horse Creek. And we would love to see that walking path and that bridge, happen. It's just getting our residents to vote on it, I think, is some of our challenges because they don't understand, what is coming to the area. But my question is, have you connected with, the city of Reno? I know you're bringing in this awesome facility to our area to help with our water resources. But we do have some parks along the way. I think that your design is going like feeding up to like it adjacent to is the Dorothy McAden Park. that is in desperate need of water, has a low tree canopy. Just wondering if you've worked with the city of Reno or any of the parks to maybe provide some additional resources to the area for our community.
Kelly, this is Councilmember Eber. I just want to say that park is currently irrigated by the sewer treatment plant. It's irrigated with effluent water. And the roadblock I hit with putting in fruit trees was it's not suitable to use for trees that people can eat the fruit off of. So we are currently watering and landscaping there with that effluent water. They call it purple pipe. We're using water that's not safe for people to drink, but it's safe for irrigation. So we are using that. Part of the problem is, the park space too. So we could get some more parks, close to where this line is gonna go. Maybe we could get some diversions, but it's probably gonna be easy to get it from the plant in the first place and extend that purple pipe because it goes all the way out to the golf course as well. They water their course with the effluent water as well. So that's kind of the direction the purple pipe goes into, but other people can hook up to it. So that is a possibility for the future.
Yeah, if you'd like more information about the purple pipe system, I'm the point of contact to look at additional service to that system for any parks in the area, and I can tell you how close we are and what the logistics of that would be.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I don't have any other questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Kelly. So I don't know if anyone else saw the bid drops for record. So I don't think any of you guys were on the board when the last time they came out, or the first time they came out to present this was a couple of years ago. They really ran down like what this really like part more technical, and what this is providing is like pure drinking water, putting it back into the aquifer, and that's where it gets to the A+. I think is right. Is that last step of putting it back into the aquifer? And it was. I just wanted to say that last presentation, that first one, so from a couple of years ago, was really in depth. And I recommend it, especially you, Kelly, for if you're living right next to that building. I could probably look up the date of that meeting, and then so you could watch it and get more details from them on what's going on, what they're making, and so forth.
Yeah, I was part of the board then too.
You were? My brain doesn't work today, so I didn't know if you were or not.
It's okay. No worries.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't ask. Anyone in the public have any questions? I'm sorry. Okay, you're good. Thank you. We're going to move on to item B, board commission committee member reports, announcements, discussions, future agenda items. I have a question, Megan. What did they say the first part of this freeway project was going to be done?
Oh, we're already wait. This is you need to get information from NDOT. They're very behind. Their official reason for that was there was underground water and mining activity that was not accounted for on their initial maps. So again, this is an NDOT project. I try to get them to convert apps as often as possible, but they don't. They hide from me. So you have to go to their you have to go to their website. We used to have it on presentation. Okay.
I put some cards on the table, but I can include
I'll
that.
have that back in. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where they put updates. And I know that there was an original promise of not doing both sections at the same time. But there is a time limit. They received $100 million grant from the state to complete this, and they have a time frame that they need to meet. So as I think we all suspected, they're going to be working on the whole section at once, and we're all going to die. So, just kidding. But the traffic is awful. I'm on the road with you. But I try to avoid the 395 as much as possible. I'm on North Virginia as much as I can be. The traffic pattern is crazy, so I'm doing through yeah, it's like one lane and then it swerves over the next lane, and yeah, no, I'm sure, I don't know, it'll be done someday.
One day.
But I did also, because I saw the governor yesterday, I mentioned it. And he was like, yeah, we really gotta get the end off situation fixed out there. And I was like, yeah, we do. Yeah, so. And there was something else I wanted to say too about that. Now I can't remember, of course. Yeah, anyways, just very excited about the jobs and hopefully we can keep some of the traffic off the roads.
Yeah, that's all, a lot of employee.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. Big. And I've been working in warehouse since I high school,
Mhm.
and that's a okay size, but to
Mhm.
fit that many people, that's crazy. But I don't have anything. Does anyone on the board?
I want to say though too, there's gonna be shifts.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Even
Even if it's 24 hours, I mean,
yeah,
you're 3 shifts, that's what, because he said initially, what, 300?
730.
Yeah, so it's what, 250 people per shift, that's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I'm not sure what the square footage is.
yeah, maybe.
That would be cool.
Yep.
And they are doing a redesign of the, like the business, a warehouse project they had going on out here. There are 2 warehouses that are for sure going in, and that's what kind of facilitated the widening of Moya, which is also gonna be starting up here. So there's, I think there's one warehouse that's gonna be 600,000 square foot, the other one's 400,000 square foot. But, they weren't able to, this, don't beat me on this, but my understanding is they did not find tenants for the other warehouses they were planning on building, so they're doing like a redesign. So if you go to, I think it's the Stead Airport's website, you can provide, suggestions, recommendations. I'm hoping that we could bring some drone companies here. I think this is a great location to test drones. People want to commute back and forth to the Bay Area. We have hangars here. It's a very short flight, so I'm really a cheerleader for that type of business to come here, which would definitely be a shift from a lot of the like logistical centers where they fulfill order shipments and things like that. But that's really what I'm hoping for, is a shift to more of technology kind of hub here. I know there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I don't remember like an hour. Okay, yeah.
Kelly, for you two, and anyone else on the board, do you guys have any future agenda items you would like to see or anything like that?
I do not.
I have a question in regard to, so RPD, I know that they're different from the sheriff's office. And so does the sheriff's office today pull that river yet, or that's just the freeway?
They're county,
Yeah.
so they're a separate thing. We're city, county, so they have their own thing. The sheriff is elected, so he's like totally different type of position than like the chief of police, who's appointed essentially. But yeah, I'm not sure what they do. They have CABs, which is a community advisory board meeting, but I'm not sure if they do those types of.
Okay, no, that's, I just wanted to see if that was something that would even be applicable.
Yes, yeah.
So.
And also to elephant in the room, the fire that happened, it was really, really scary for a while. But I really want to give a shout out to our firefighters. They did a tremendous job. Had a lot of people calling me from Cold Springs that were really concerned about where they were going to go, how they were going to get out. Power outages, all kinds of things that were really concerning. But people that stayed in Cold Springs, that were in a safe area. A lot of them watched the firefighters overnight because they didn't have power, so they just stayed outside and watched them. And they They, many people commented on what an incredible job the firefighters did essentially in diverting the path away from structures. So just always want to give a shout out to our firefighters, even though they're not here right now. I want to be their cheerleader because it was county firefighters and it was city of Reno firefighters and Stark firefighters. I love them. Just don't really have jurisdictions when we do them. So I want to say thank you to all of them. Kelly has her hand. Kelly, I saw you had your hand raised if you wanted to speak.
Thank you, Kelly, or for the record. Sorry, I just wanted to, ask to maybe we got a wonderful update from RPD. If we could, get an update from the fire department, see if they have any feedback for our community as well.
They do come quarterly. It's just not, I don't remember what their cycle is, but they do also come quarterly.
They've been here recently.
When have they been here this year?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
They haven't. Yeah.
They're supposed to come quarterly. I'll ask about that.
We're gonna go to public comment. Does anyone in the public make any comments today? Go ahead, just state your name for the record.
Get a reminder for the record. I'm here visiting you guys, Ward 4. I am from Ward 3. I am actually the chair for NAV Ward 3. Reason why I'm here today specifically was because of the fires that went on. I was able to participate with the fire department, with the sheriff's department, with a program called CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team. We're just volunteers for the community, for all Washoe County. We were helping out in 2 different locations here in the North Valley Regional Center and down at Rancho San Rafael Park, and we were helping out the firefighters over there, and all the whole, the whole thing that it was just not only our region. A lot of people from Washington, Oregon, we had people from Arizona, firefighters. We had like a plethora of different states that were in this region to help out with the fire. So that was something pretty awesome to see. And with that, there was a big sense of community whenever these things happen. I just like the fact that we're even though again we're in different wards and stuff like that, but we're all on one same team when it comes to emergencies. And again, I want to emphasize as well thank you to the fire department and everybody involved to help save the infrastructure and get this fire out pretty quickly. Even though for the size that it was and the intensity and everything, getting done within a week or so, that was phenomenal. So so I'm here visiting. Do expect to be here more often. I want to see what's going on, not just in Ward 3, in all the different wards, because we're all collectively affected by everything that our council approves. So we need to be a little bit more attentive to all the different wards. So so if you have any questions regarding Ward 3, I'm here to answer them, and I want to be a more active participant for this ward. This ward has a special place in my heart as well. I work in Ward 4 and I live in Ward 3. So I get all the power outages consistently with my car. We're always getting those power outages and stuff like that. So those things affect. And so again, anything we can help each other out. I'm just here to help out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're moving over the purple cards before you leave.
Yeah.
One last thing, I am going to be asking council to agendize discussion about flock cameras, just to let everyone know. I have a lot of questions regarding information that we're receiving from them, how helpful they are, and statistics that we have regarding them. So I don't know if there's any items that the board or members of the community would like to have me to agendas at council as well. So just want to let you guys know that is something that I'll be asking.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to item F, which is adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Craig Kelly, motion for adjournment.
Kelsey Beno, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you. Look at you two. Good job.
Well, you know what? I had a hiccup there at the beginning, but I got my shit together. So